Austin's in trouble, though. Also hung up there by Triple H.
10 times wrestlers broke character to check on their opponent. Number 10, LA Knight, SummerSlam 2024. Logan Paul is still extremely new to the crazy world of pro wrestling. This means that his opponents must work carefully with him to make sure that he's safe in the ring. Now, this isn't to say that Logan is poor in the ring, as that simply isn't the case. It's just a case that Logan often goes too high risk and sometimes has rather unfortunate landings. At the 2024 SummerSlam event, Logan defended the US title against LA Knight, and in the match, Logan performed a visually spectacular springboard moonsault onto Knight, who was standing outside of the ring. Logan had a truly horrific landing, and without hesitation, Knight broke character to check on Logan. This was the correct thing to do, and Knight once again showed the world that he's a total pro in the ring. Now, this wasn't the only time in the well-received match where Knight broke character, as he top rope superplex saw Logan have yet another unfortunate landing, and Knight once again would check on his opponent. Number 9, Brock Lesnar Elimination Chamber 2022. The 2022 Elimination Chamber match featured one of the most insane spots ever, as Brock Lesnar delivered a devastating F5 onto Austin Theory from the top of the chamber pod. This spot looked like something out of a WWE video game, and naturally, due to the dangers of the spot, there was a major concern that Theory could have been seriously hurt. Lesnar was incredibly careful with Theory after the spot, and Lesnar even hid his face for a brief second during the pin attempt, and this was likely the exact moment that Lesnar was making sure that Theory was okay. But Lesnar didn't stop there, as when he was exiting the chamber structure after winning the match, Lesnar informed the referee that he needed to go back into the structure to ensure that Theory was okay. Number 8, Chris Jericho, Raw 2001. One of the most acclaimed matches in Raw history took place in 2001, as Triple H and Stone Cold Steve Austin took on Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho. The match is known for the sheer quality of the action, and it's also known for Triple H delivering the performance of a lifetime. It's well documented just how Triple H was injured in the match, and it was pretty much a fluke accident. In hindsight, some may argue that the match should have been called off, yet Triple H would probably counter this argument by stating that the injury took the match to the next level. Again, wrestling a huge match with a torn quadricep was no laughing matter, and the fact that he finished the match on one working leg spoke volumes to how incredible he was as a performer. Jericho in particular was a total professional in the match, as he was consistently checking on the game, and it could clearly be seen when the infamous Walls of Jericho on the announce table spot took place. Jericho would ask the game if he was okay, which was the right thing to do, as the idea of delivering a leg-based submission move to a man who just tore his quad is completely wild. Number 7, Mr. Kennedy, Raw 2007. John Cena was established as the face of the company in 2007. Cena was the biggest wrestling star in the world, and WWE had made the right call by making Cena the guy. Unfortunately for WWE and Cena, this all went wrong when Cena was injured in a match against Mr. Kennedy on Raw. Cena would get hurt following a hip toss, and Cena's facial expressions instantly changed as he realized that he'd just been seriously hurt. Kennedy would do a great job in keeping Cena safe afterwards, and it's evident that Kennedy was breaking character and talking to Cena to making sure he was okay. Cena's injury would be a torn pec, and this is an incredibly serious injury, so Cena was expected to be out for an extended period of time. This was the first instance of Super Cena surfacing, as he managed to recover in just a matter of months, and he would make his dramatic return at the 2008 Royal Rumble. Number 6, Bubba Ray Dudley, Raw 2002. Whilst there's no arguing that kayfabe and staying in character is important in wrestling, sometimes a wrestler's safety and well-being becomes the focus, and the wrestler is forced to break character. This was the case in 2002, as Kevin Nash was injured in a major match on Raw. During a 10-man tag match, Nash was tagged in, and after performing some basic moves, Nash charged at Bubba Ray Dudley, who was on the apron. However, upon doing this, Nash fell into the ground, and Nash completely tore his quad. The match was quickly changed on the fly so Nash could receive immediate medical attention. Bubba Ray Dudley was phenomenal following the injury, as he didn't just break character to make sure Nash was okay, he even spoke to Nash in the corner and virtually shielded him from further action. Bubba Ray has always been known for keeping kayfabe intact, yet even he realized that his responsibility to keep Nash safe was the new focus, and he truly did an outstanding job. Number 5, Edge, Over the Limit 2010. One of the top matches on the 2010 Over the Limit match card was Edge vs Randy Orton. The match went off the rails when Orton legitimately injured his shoulder while setting up for an RKO. Orton had dislocated his shoulder, and the match needed to end immediately. After a few awkward seconds, Edge and Orton had a brief conversation, and this is where Edge decided to exit the ring. This allowed Orton and the referee to have a discussion about Orton's status, and this was when the new improvised count-out finish was put together. When Orton and Edge are delivering the new finish on the outside of the ring, Edge constantly checks on Orton to make sure that his injury hasn't got any worse. Additionally, his strikes are noticeably weak, and he's mainly using the physicality as an excuse to communicate with a fellow WWE legend. Number 4. Lita, Survivor Series 2001. There's a reason that Lita is considered to be one of the greatest female wrestlers of all time, and even early on during a WWE run, she was consistently the best worker in the women's division. At the 2001 Survivor Series event, a six-pack challenge took place to crown a new WWE Women's Champion. During the match, Jazz would take a bump through the ropes, and in a scary moment, it looked like the talented star was going to land straight on her head as her feet got tangled in the ropes. Thankfully, Lita was able to catch Jazz and safely bring her to the ground. Lita would then turn her face towards Jazz to make sure that she was perfectly okay. Number 3. Sasha Banks and Peyton Royce, Elimination Chamber 2019. The 2019 Elimination Chamber pay-per-view featured a chamber match to crown the inaugural WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. The match received rave reviews, yet there were some close calls with spots in the match that could have led to a serious injury. During one spot in the match, Peyton Royce flipped over the ropes onto Bayley and Sasha Banks. As Royce was coming down, it became apparent that Bayley was going to be kicked in the head, so at the last second, Banks smartly put a hand in Bayley's face to cushion the blow. Although Bayley and Banks weren't opponents in the match, this save was great to see, and Bayley instantly checked on Banks to make sure that she was okay. When it comes to Royce, when she moved Bayley ahead of the next spot, she managed to get extremely close to her face, so this was likely the point in which Royce just wanted to check on her opponent and perhaps apologize for the rough landing. Number 2. John Cena Extreme Rules 2011. John Cena had a reputation for calling spots during his full-time run in WWE, yet Cena was also known for being safe in the ring and making sure his opponents were at ease at all times. At the 2011 Extreme Rules pay-per-view, Cena took on The Miz and John Morrison in a steel cage match for the WWE title, and the highlight of the match saw Morrison deliver a Starship Pain onto Cena and Miz from the top of the steel cage. The spot looked brutal, and Cena, who's the ring general in the match, would purposely land on top of Morrison following the spot, and this allowed Cena to check on him. This was extremely brief, and once Cena was aware that Morrison was perfectly okay, Cena moved away from Morrison and continued selling the spot. And number 1. Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 26. The matches between Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker are legendary, and their final one-on-one matchup took place at WrestleMania 26. The two went all out for the match, and the match featured a spot which saw HBK deliver a moonsault from the ropes onto the dead man, who was lying prone on the announce table. HBK's in-ring skills are well established, and due to the danger of the spot, HBK had a genius way of making sure The Undertaker was okay. After landing, HBK would adjust his position, and he did this in order to get closer to The Undertaker and the referee. He did this in such a smart way, and it looked as if he was selling both the impact as well as taking in the high of the momentum of the spot. This would allow him to not just check on The Undertaker when the camera cut to the replay, but he instantly would be able to overhear the conversation between The Undertaker and the referee. Well, there you have it, folks. 10 times WWE wrestlers broke character to check on their opponent. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.